All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, July 30th. We got a 15-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk many other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays. So I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you don't want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, man, it started off a little rocky. We had Blue Jays game 1, that was a loss. Blue Jays game 2, that was a loss. I was hoping for just one of those. We would have made a little bit of profit, snagging them both at plus money. But then we ran the board. Red Sox team total over, Royals money line, Pirates and Giants first 5 under. We had the Phils parlayed with the White Sox team total under, and then Casey Smith. We did have to sweat it out. He had a double at one point, but ultimately he just had that one hit in the game. Cashes under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I think we're deserved a nice little cha-ching there. A 5-2 night from a win-loss perspective, but those Blue Jays plays were only a half unit each, so realistically it was more like a 5-1 night. Absolutely love to see that. Let's take some of that momentum and bring it into today. Like I said, 15-game MLB slate. Buckle up, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking here. We got Baltimore taking on Toronto. Baltimore's won 3 straight here in this series. Yesterday, we were on Toronto both sides, and honestly, I don't regret the plays other than them losing. Like, obviously, that's a big regret, but we were able to snag both of those games at plus money, meaning even if just one of those games went our way, we would have made slight profit. So I liked the strategy, didn't like the result. Is today going to be any different? We have Dean Kramer on the bump for the Orioles going up against Jose Barrios for Toronto. You look at Kramer's numbers against this this Jays team, not all that great. In fact, his last start against them, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 5 earned, 6 Ks, 2 walks, and 1 home run. So kind of a mixed bag there, right? Pitched into the 6th inning, just 5 hits, but 5 earned from that. Flip it over to Jose Barrios. It's not like he's looked any better. He had a couple starts so far in the season so far against them. 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned. Next time up, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned. So I think both these guys could give up some runs today. Just because this could be a 4-game sweep of a divisional opponent, I'm going to be leaning towards the Jays. If you guys have been watching for a while, I'm not a big fan of sweep potential or anything like that, especially when it's 4 games. The Jays are still the better team in this dumb noggin, even though we took them twice yesterday. So I'll lean Jays. Look at their team total over as well. The only reason I don't like the full game over is because Baltimore, I mean, for an offense that had been struggling, 3 of their last 5 or 6 games, they've scored double-digit runs. At some point, the well has to go dry, right? Like, this offense was struggling. Maybe they're back, but I don't know. I see a low-scoring game could potentially come in from them today. But would it surprise me if this game is like a 6-5 game? No. That's why we also said we kind of like some runs in both teams. I think the safer play might be Jays, just to get the monkey off their back here. All right, next one is a tough one. We have Detroit taking on Arizona. Chris Paddock is going to be making his Detroit debut. He's going up against Ryan Nelson. I say it's a tough one because this Arizona offense, especially with all the trade rumors and the trades they've made, is nothing, right? I'll just read off their last 8 games in terms of their runs scored. 3-1, 3-1, 0-0, 1-2. Does that sound like a team that is, heading in the right direction offensively? Spoiler, no. Now, Detroit, they look like they're doing their damn thing, right? They've scored 10+ in 2 of their last 3. The one that they didn't, they scored 5, and that was in game 1 of this series. I say it's a tough one because Ryan Nelson is on the bump for Arizona, and I've really liked him this year. We've backed him a few times. I think that he could hold his own. I will say that. But one pitcher I don't think is going to be enough to get me to Arizona, right? So I think he holds his own in maybe a low-scoring game here. So we'll lean Tigers almost by default. I think this offense is way better in the under 8.5. Now, where I kind of come into a little bit of concern here is Chris Paddock. How's he going to do with his new squad? He throws a ton of fastballs. That is a pitch that Arizona likes to hit. if you can even make the argument they're hitting anything. Detroit's bullpen has been used a little bit, so there is some rockiness to this one. I get it. If someone's on the Diamondbacks and the over today, so the exact two opposite sides that I'm leaning towards, I don't know how much of a fight that I would put up, all right? So at this moment in time, I am leaning Tigers in the under, but it's really all around Ryan Nelson, so maybe there's some player props that we can look at. I don't have any ready to share right now, but maybe like Ryan Nelson under earned runs, or maybe a couple Detroit guys that don't fit his pitch mix very well, maybe something like that. But we'll keep digging. This is just a tough game, especially with a guy making his team debut on the other side. Actually, we almost forgot to talk about the ride of the day, though I'm thinking that MDP probably wishes that we didn't have to. Gotta drop the womp womp on my man. He did cash 2 days ago, so that's nice, right? He kind of made up for this loss, right? But he had the Yerfy, yes, a run in the first inning, over 0.5 first inning runs in that Miami-St. Louis game. They scored 2 in the second inning, but neither team scored in the first inning, so that one was an L. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag, ride of the day, down in the comments. I jump aboard with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you do win, we continue to roll in ride of your play until the wheels fall off, until you do catch an L, and you get to go on a nice little streak, right? If you lose, yeah, unfortunately, you still get the shout out, but you got to face the womp womp. We get questions all the time. Where do you post the ride of the day? A couple different places. I posted on my Twitter, which will be rotating right here throughout the show, bottom left of your screen. It's also posted with the final plays at the bottom of the page, a screenshot of it, and you can go to the ride of the day tracker that looks just like this, and you can kind of follow along with all of the past rides since we've been tracking. So that is how to kind of find the ride of the day if you are interested. But yeah. Shout out to MDP for the attempt. Unfortunately, it comes through as an L. All right, let's go ahead and dive back into these games. All right, next up we have Minnesota taking on Boston. Little question on who's starting for Minnesota. I've seen Zebby Matthews plenty, but also a little bit of Bailey Ober on a couple different sites. So we will see who is pitching. I think either way, my leans are going to stay the same in this game, and I promise you this is not me being a homer, all right? But I like the Red Sox. I like their team total over. We'll talk about those two first, and then we'll get into the two player props that I like as well. So Brian Bayo's on the bump for the Red Sox. He's actually been pretty damn serviceable. His only rough, and even if you want to use that word, rough starts have been against really, really good offenses, and I don't know if I would categorize Minnesota in that boat, right? Now, they've struggled against righties the last 30 days. They've struggled against righties at home. He's going to throw a sinker and a fastball combo. They're bottom 5 in both those pitches in terms of runs above average. Now, his cutter and slider, his 3 and 4 pitch, could get a little dicey, so I understand that. But either way, you could see the Red Sox team total on there, right? Zebby Matthews, I do think has some talent and whatnot, but he's going to throw fastball, slider, and then he'll mix in the cutter, but realistically, that fastball slider makes up like over 75% of his pitch mix, right? So if he's going to go in there and throw that, the Red Sox, number 1 last 30 days, runs above average against the fastball. I believe they're tied. And then number 4 against the slider. I think the Red Sox can put up some numbers. So obviously, I love to see that, right? So I like the idea of the Red Sox scoring some runs here. We cashed it yesterday. Yes, you could have taken them on the money line for better odds, but they're plus money today on the money line, and I think it's minus 130 for their over 3.5 team total. Now, where we turn to the player props, I do like this. So we'll start with Masataka Yoshida over on Outlier. Guys, I have a link for Outlier down in the description and the pinned comment of this video. You get 7 days free with the tool that I'm showing you right now. After that 7 days, it's $19.99 a month. Unless you want to go for these premium tools, which I do recommend. They are profitable tools. That's going to cost you a little bit more. But everything you're seeing here, insights, popular games, or the props tab, $19.99 a month. But why do we like Masa's under? Well, first and foremost, this is a guy that came back a little while ago from injury and realistically hasn't had the best year. Like, look at that. 75% of his games he stayed under. Now, away from home, 67, looks a little bit worse, right? But what I like here is it's against righties. 8 of 9 games, including 8 straight. This season, he stayed under this line against righties. He's batting just 179, WRC plus at 18.8. Now, I will say, as a Red Sox fan, I'm starting to notice that he's figuring things out a little bit, so sure, maybe that has me shaking in my boots, but if Zebby is the pitcher, or if it's Bailey Ober, both those guys are right-handers, so I like that. 250 is his, Zebby's average against lefties. and his WOBA drops down to below 300. Now, the fastball, yes, Masa is hitting the fastball a little bit better than everything, but it's still just a 255 WOBA, and you can see here, he likes it when it's in the zone. If Zebby Matthews can kind of put it anywhere outside of the zone, I think you might get Yoshida to chase. Where it really gets interesting is the slider. Strikeout rate of 40%. His WOBA drops down to 180. The cutter, his WOBA is at 0. So those first 3 pitches, slider kind of being the main one, Masa should definitely struggle with. Now, we also like Harrison Bader in this game to get a hit. And that's for actually a couple different reasons. So we have him for a really good pitch mix here in terms of, him against Brian Bayo. He's averaging 0.8 hits over his last 10, 7 of his last 10 he's cashing. He's had 8 hits through that span, batting nearly 260 here. He's batting 286 against Bayo. Bayo, a little more strugglesome against right-handed bats with the batting average balls in play, but look at that sinker, 3.3% strikeout rate, 462 WOBA. The slider, he also hits well. The fastball, he hits well as well. He strikes out a little bit more against those, but I do like the idea of, Bader being able to get a hit today, and even using our dashboard, you can see here he's got a 4.5 pitch mix rating that we have, 13.7 runs above average against the sinker. So a lot of options. I know we spent a lot of time on this one. I promise it's not because I'm a homer, but I think there's a lot of options in this Red Sox game. You could probably expect at least one of these plays as a final play. All right, next up, we have Milwaukee taking on Chicago. Milwaukee's taking game 1 and game 2 in the series, 8-4 and 9-3. Today, we have Shota Imanaga on the mound for the Cubs. He's coming off a rough start against the White Sox. He just pitched 3 innings, 12 hits, 3 home runs, 7 earned, no walks, but only 2 strikeouts. So probably not even arguably his worst start of the year. Milwaukee has Freddie Peralta on the mound, who has been just very, very good. His one blemish start in his most recent starts was against the Dodgers. And yes, you could say the Dodgers haven't been the Dodgers lately, or hadn't been at that time, but still, 5 innings, 4 earned, that type of thing really doesn't shake me from Freddie Peralta. Where we're going to end up going in this one is kind of expecting a Shota bounce back spot. I just like the idea of him being able to throw the fastball and splitter combo from the left side here. So I'm going to lean towards a first 5 under because I want to give Freddie Peralta his credit. I'm also going to lean and ultimately end up leaning towards the idea of the Cubs snagging one from a rival here in the Brewers, right? The Brewers win first 2 games. This Cubs team, yeah, they've been a little bit sluggish, I guess you could say, through this series, but still obviously a very, very good team, right? And very consistent. The fact that they are, I believe, 3 and 4 through their last 7, scoring 8, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3 in terms of runs scored is kind of crazy, right? Usually being that consistent is going to get you some more dubs. So I don't think it's going to be a massively high scoring game today, hence the first 5 under. Don't necessarily want to get involved with the Cubs bullpen though. They have some of their high leverage arms, but they did end up using a few middle relievers yesterday. So it's going to be Cubs in first 5 under for me in this one, giving Peralta his flowers, and I think Shota bounces back here in this spot as well. I'm not sure if which one I like more. I kind of think right now, like I mentioned, the first 5 is where I'd go. But the problem with the first 5, there is an argument to be made that it's both these offenses are good, and 5 runs may come pretty quickly. We've already seen that in this series. So keep an eye on the final plays to see if we do roll with something in this one. Actually wanted to show you outlier again because this might help us out. So you can see here on the season, the Cubs first 5 under, they've actually gone 51% to the over, but with Shota on the mound, 71%. Shota on the road, 88%. It's 88-13. Those numbers don't exactly add up. But anyways, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 1 when he's on the mound. We flip it to Freddie Peralta at home, 64%. So we could see a final play out of this one, just even based on the trends of that first 500. I think that's what I'm liking more. I just kind of wanted to clarify that. All right, Houston taking on Washington. Houston gets the win yesterday, which they probably feel pretty good about after losing 5 straight, right? They win that one 7-4. Today we have Mackenzie Gore on the bump, though, and obviously he's an absolute stud. Going up against Ryan Gusto, who I don't know if we can say the same about. I mean, he comes back and starts against the Athletics and lets up 6 earned through 3 and 1/3. I think it was 3 1/3 to 3 2/3. So yeah, obviously there's a starting pitching advantage on the Washington side of things. This Houston team over the last 30 days has been hitting lefties, so I guess that calls for a little concern. But the biggest thing here is the fact that Ryan Gusto is not all that good against lefties, and you pretty much have the 4 biggest names in that lineup, arguably, batting from the left side today, including Bell, who is a switch hitter. So I'm going to go with the Nationals here because you're getting plus money with the the strong starting pitching advantage, but I'm also going to take a peek at the Nats team total over if we can get a good number, because I think they can get a couple off gusto, okay? They have been scoring well lately. I mean, I guess well maybe is a little bit of a strong word, but realistically it's been inconsistent, but they've had plenty of high-scoring games. But also the bullpen for Houston. We'll dive into the dashboard again. I'll show you. And guys, I just don't want to take up too much time. I'll show you how to get access to this dashboard in like 5 minutes, okay? But Houston here, they used a lot of arms yesterday. Hader, Abreu, King, Sousa went 20 pitches, and those are some of our better names, if not their best names, right? So yeah, I think that there could be a spot here for Washington to have 9 innings worth of potential run scoring. So I like the idea of them at least putting up some sort of a number. I do lean them because they have the plus money, but to be completely honest, I do still think that this Washington bullpen, though it's rested, has a lot of blown game potential in them. So the smartest thing here probably would be to say, hey, go get 4 runs Nationals. Let's see that, because you're getting, I think, minus 120-ish odds. And then no player props in this one as of right now. All right, Kansas City taking on the Braves. Kansas City being, can I talk today? One of our bigger wins yesterday as they took this one. It got a little sweaty. They had a 6-run lead. I think they only ended up winning by like 3 runs or so. But nonetheless, I think this one's going to be a little bit different in terms of our direction to lean. Kansas City used Estevez, Urseg, Schreiber, and Harvey. I think they also used someone else in the pen. Oh, Zerpa, the guy that's opening up today. So they have a bullpen day here. The bullpen's already been used. Even those guys that I didn't mention that are kind of their middle relievers, they all pitched 2 days ago. So it's a bullpen day, but I don't think they set it up all that well for the Royals. I like the idea of the Braves offense in this one. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh my God, I love Joey Wentz or anything like that, but I think that he could be at all right, okay? So I'm going to trust that this Braves team kind of puts up a few decent numbers throughout the game, just enough to get the win. So I'm going to lean Braves in the over, but you could probably even tell, or you should be able to tell, even by the way that I'm kind of talking about it, not exactly like all over this one, right? This is one that could go a little bit sideways, because that Braves team, I don't know how fully trustworthy they are, and now they have some injuries, right? Like Acuna got injured yesterday, so we'll see. That's where I'm leaning as of right now, but I'm not sure if any final plays are going to come out of that one. All right, White Sox taking on Philadelphia. I still think that the Phillies could be the move here. I think you're getting decent enough odds because Taijuan Walker's on the mound and he's not all that good. Adrian Houser's on the other side. Yes, he's been really, really reliable, but his last couple starts haven't looked all that great. 4 1/3, 10 hits, 3 earned against Pittsburgh. 10 hits, that's almost like Pittsburgh probably could have scored more, right? And then he went up against the Cubs, which I think we can give him a little bit of, you know, a leash for. 6 2/3, 3 earned. Like, that was a good start, but realistically, it wasn't good compared to his starts prior to that against Toronto, Colorado, and San Fran. He was going 7 or 8 innings of like 1 earned. So it's weird to kind of price out where he's at. Where I'm giving him the credit is going to be in the first 5 under, because I think that him and Walker could pitch all right here. Walker's going to throw a lot of the cutter, which this is not a good White Sox team against the cutter. The White Sox have struggled against righties lately as well. Walker's been a lot better against righties. There's more righties in this lineup too, so I do think that there's things that can say, okay, well, Hauser, hopefully he can pitch well, right? But Taijuan Walker should be in a good spot compared to kind of where he's been lately. And honestly, lately, he hasn't even been all that terrible. I believe we might have some weather in this one as well, which would be great, right? A little bit of wind blowing in, some rain, maybe that kind of helps us out. Where I also would lean in terms of player props would be Luis Robert Jr., over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. We have him with a crazy good pitch mix rating here against the splitter, the cutter, and the fastball, which is pretty much what Walker's going to throw. So I love the idea of that. And the dude has been absolutely just raking lately. Like, this is him, his last 10 games, hits, runs, and RBIs. Against righties, doesn't look all that great, but still, last couple, he's been looking pretty damn good, right? So, like I mentioned, righties, it's tough, but this is a guy that kind of just started to get going. We know how good he can be, so maybe the fact that it's recent could be the thing that keeps us off of it, but kind of like the idea of Robert Jr. doing something here. But Phillies, first 5 under, and then him are definitely all kind of in the same boat. I would say first 5 under, because of the weather too, is what I start to lean towards a little bit more. But again, we're kind of rolling the dice with Walker and then even Hauser. Like, is he who he is? I mean, he struggles against lefties. There's some damn good lefties in this Phillies lineup, so we'll see what we end up rolling with in that one. All right, San Fran taking on Pittsburgh. We had 2 full unit cashes in this game yesterday. We had the first 5 under, as well as Schmidt under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I kind of lean towards something similar here, a low-scoring game. I'm going to go first 5 under. You could go full game under, but it's all the way down at 7.5. You do have Logan Webb against Mike Burrows. Burrows isn't all that good, okay? Like, I don't really want to sit here and try and act like he is. We know Logan Webb is. People say my doppelganger, right? I get him and Louis Varland all the time. So I think he should be able to suppress this Pirates team. So if you look at their team total under, in terms of a side, I didn't even put it up on the screen. I think I would still figure out a way to maybe back this Giants squad, but I don't like the idea of laying -1.5, especially them being at home or anything like that. And the first 5 run line, sure, but I think it's going to be a really low scoring game. So it's like to get that 1 run, that could be coming at a premium. So I would lean some way Giants, but the offense isn't there and isn't good enough for me to really feel comfortable with it. So I'm probably looking at a first 5 under or just saying, hey, Pirates team total under, let's trust Logan Webb. All right, guys, I've mentioned the dashboard a couple times in today's video. It is the Guy Boston Sports members dashboard. We built it ourselves, and we built it for the reason, like, to be selfish, to be able to get all the information as quickly and as efficient as possible before recording these videos, right? And then I was like, you know what, let's bring it to the people. And I'm going to show you guys how to get access to it today. So on GuyBostonSports.com, which is where all of our final plays are at for free always, you can head over to the members area, right? GuyBostonSports.com, members area. You click MLB dashboard, and you can see the dashboard open up here. We have each game tabbed out at the top. We also have a downloadable PDF version. Doesn't get updated as often, but it still should be, you know, relatively accurate. And when I say relatively, it is accurate. It just, if there's lineup changes and whatnot, it might be like an hour behind, whereas this is like less than 5 minutes behind. But you have each and every game broken out in a visual format. You can see here pitching data, bullpen data, batting data, player batting data. You even have some player trends. You can click around to like the Pittsburgh and San Francisco game we just talked about. When I record, kind of slow things down, so we'll see how long it takes for this to load here. But nonetheless, guys, it should work a little bit better for you. But again, all you have to do is head over to the members area, MLB dashboard. If you're not signed in, and I'll put this to non-logged in access so you can kind of see what it looks like. But you'll say, hey, this needs an MLB dashboard membership. You can click join now. Very, very simple. It'll take you to the sign up page, which is $6.99 per month. And the great thing about this, as long as you keep your subscription active and you stay in wherever you got the price at, like there's people that are still paying $2.99 for this dashboard, right? It's increased because of the stuff we add to it, but it's really, really cool, guys. Whatever you get in at, as long as that stays active, we get the questions all the time. Well, what if I switch my card and all that? That is in the system's hands, not mine, unfortunately. You get to stay at the price that you got in it. So go check it out, guys. GuyBostonSports.com members area. I think you just go to GuyBostonSports.com/members too if you want to make it easy and sign up today. This is a consolidation of 8 to 10 websites on any given day to help you and me and Tassos with all of our MLB research. Go ahead and check it out. All right, Padres taking on the Mets. We have Clay Holmes on the bump for the Mets going up against Yu Darvish, or at least Yu Darvish as the listed starting pitcher. Yu hasn't really been all that great, 3 or 4 starts under his belt. I don't want to say he's been terrible and he's coming off a terrible one, but he really hasn't been all that bad. Clay Holmes has been pitching pretty damn serviceably, so I think that this one is going to ultimately be a lean towards the Mets. I also like their team total over. If they get to this, if they get to Yu Darvish, I think that they could score, and this is a really taxed bullpen on the San Diego side of things. The reason I don't like the full game over is because I don't know exactly how well this San Diego team is going to bat against the Mets. We've seen their struggles. Yes, they've gone 9-7-7 so far in this in their last 3 games. 2 of those 2 7-scoring games in this series. But how long can they keep that up for? This was a very inconsistent offense before that, and they went up against Minaya, who's a lefty. They hit lefties well, and Frankie Montas, the game before. So can they pitch against someone like Clay Holmes that's actually been decent? I mean, we'll see, right? Yu Darvish could also suppress this Mets team because he's got the sinker-slider combo. That's not exactly the best pitches for them to hit, but either way, it's going to be Mets and their team total over. Throw in the little cherry on top there. I'll take it. The Mets are on the back against the wall with a sweep situation. You guys know me. I like kind of fading the idea of a sweep. So Mets and their team total over is what I'm looking at. Another simple one for me here, because I don't have the strongest of takes, would be this Rockies and Cleveland game. I'm going to lean towards the Rockies and the over. This Rockies lineup has not looked all that terrible, so I give them a little bit of credit. Cleveland's lineup has looked good in this series. Kyle Freeland's on the bump, though, and I do think that he can hold his own against this Cleveland lineup. You guys know that I like Kyle Freeland. There's a lot of lefties in that lineup. He's good against lefties. Neither bullpen I love. I mean, Cleveland's got the advantage, but still, for the price tag, it's going to be Rockies for me. I don't think that Cleveland should be minus 200, or I guess they should be. Like, would it surprise me that Cleveland wins this game? No, they probably will, but for plus 175, it's Rockies for me. I like the over again just because of the offenses, and you never know what could happen late in those games. Kobe Allard is starting. He only has one start this year, but he's been a bullpen arm. He's starting for Cleveland, so again, maybe Colorado can get a few off early, but just telling you transparently, it's not my favorite spot, and I know we'll get the comments, well, why'd you even talk about it? Or someone could screenshot Rockies and over, and then it's going to be Cleveland in a 1-0 win. Guys, we talk about every single game here. It's what it is, right? It's a format of the show. I like talking about sports. I'm not being transparent saying it's not my favorite spot, though, so just got to put that out there, because there'll still be people, even when I'm like, it's not my favorite spot, in the comments being like, can't believe you sold me with the Rockies yesterday. It's like, did I sell you? Did I? But that's what I'd look at in this game. All right, Yanks taking on Tampa Bay. We have Will Warren on the mound going up against projected Zach Littell here. I have a few different spots that I don't mind in this one. I think I do lean towards the over as my main play, as long as we can snag an 8.5. I've seen a lot of 9s out there, but the 8.5 still exists. I think you can get it pretty much anywhere for decent odds. The Yankees are the side that I'm going to lean towards just because I do kind of feel that they might have a little bit more momentum on their side, even though they only won, 7-4 or something like that yesterday. But they are the heavy favorite too, so kind of tracks, right? Where I could look is a player prop. Ben Rice under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Realistically, the only thing that we pulled out of this one would be the fact that last 30 days he's been very, very bad against righties, one of the worst in the Yankees lineup, and he's going to see a ton of sliders and splitters. Those are two pitches that he struggles against, and that's going to be pretty much making up the bulk of Littell's pitch mix. So that's kind of what I was looking at there. When we get to the better arms in the bullpen, whether we're talking about Uceta, Clevenger, Fairbanks, those guys are also righties. So I don't think Ben Rice is in the best of situations here ultimately to go up against that. On the season, he has been decent against righties, but again, he's just been struggling as of late. So whether it's the splitter, the fastball, or that slider, I think we could see Ben Rice kind of struggle. So yeah, I like that spot. But again, this is one where it's like you could make an argument for Tampa Bay. I wouldn't kind of talk you off of that. The over, I might fight you for. I think that Will Warren and Littell here could allow some runs kind of early and often. But we'll see. These two teams have been kind of just like absolute question marks lately, especially with no Judge in the lineup for the Yanks. All right, Cincinnati taking on the Dodgers. It would really only be the Reds for me in this one if we had to pick a side. They competed yesterday. It didn't look, the Dodgers got an early lead, but then, the Reds come back and they only lose 5-4. They lost 5-2 in game number 1. Obviously, you throw in the fact that you got the sweep potential. Ev likes that, right? Shohei's going to be opening this one, and obviously he's been very, very good. I don't know how many innings he's going to go, but then it's going to go to Sheehan for the bulk of the workload. On the other side is going to be Nick Martinez here. He's been pitching very, very well. Now, it's been against Tampa Bay, the Mets, Colorado, kind of a mixed bag of opponents, but he's been really good at home. 2 of those starts have been at home. They won both of those. So for the plus money that you're getting behind the Reds, I think that'd be the only direction that I lean in. Now, I'll give you the over because this Reds bullpen definitely got worked yesterday, and I guess even the day before in terms of their bulk arms. And then you throw in the fact that this Dodgers bullpen has blown so many games, and yeah, I'll sit here and be like, all right, let's take a peek at an over, right? Because right now this is sitting at 9.5. Couldn't you see a 5-5 game and like one run has to come in to win the game? Something like that. The Reds, though, at that plus money, certainly something that I'm considering. It's going to be a matter of if I have the cojones to drop them on the table, because you can get them at plus 147, almost plus 150 as of right now. All right, St. Louis taking on Miami. It's hard to make a case for the Cardinals the way that this Miami offense looked yesterday, right? They end up winning, 5-0? So, yeah, we'll give them credit there. Obviously, Cal Quantrill has been, not even obviously, by the way, Cal Quantrill's been really good in his last couple starts. He's going up against Michaelis, who is the definition of a mixed bag. Like, he'll go out there 5 innings, 2/3, 0 earned, but then he'll pitch 4 innings of 5 earned. So the more consistent pitcher, which is crazy to say, has been Cal Quantrill. 4 of his last 5 starts have been pretty damn good. So I guess I like that. We saw Alcantara do his thing yesterday. So, yeah, it's going to be Miami for me, but I will lean towards the over just because I think, one, the St. Louis lineup should fit the pitch mix a little bit better from Quantrill, and secondarily, Miles Michaelis, not to say he's been known to have some blowups or something like that, but realistically, if that slider isn't working for him, this Marlins team could put up some crooked numbers. So maybe it's Marlins team total over. I don't know if I get there myself. This has been a weird series so far, a 7-1 game and a 5-1 game, so only one team showing up. Also kind of turns me off of an over, right? But it's going to be Marlins in the over, maybe Marlins team total over. All right, we got the Angels taking on Texas. The Angels have won both games so far in this series, 6-4 and then an 8-5 win. Things are probably going to change a little bit here. We do have Nate Eovaldi on the bump, who's obviously been fantastic. That cutter and splitter combo, throwing the curveball as well, should be really, really good. I worry the littlest amount to see that fastball come in, that this Angels team is number 4 in terms of runs above average against. But nonetheless, I think that's going to be a Texas spot to lean. Their bullpen should be good to go. The Angels bullpen is super taxed. Avoid a sweep situation. You have Jose Soriano on the other side of things that throws the sinker. This Texas team's been very good against righties and very good against a sinker lately, so I like that. I do give a little bit of credit to Soriano, though, to keep this game somewhat low scoring. So I like the first 5 under, but it's all Eovaldi, all Rangers for me. Rangers definitely have a chance of being a final play here. I think they have the advantage in the late innings, and they have the better offense. I mean, for what it's worth, they've been scoring, right? Last 8 games, 7-6-2, that's the outlier, 8-6, 8-5, and 4. Like, even that 5 and 4 could have been good enough to beat this Angels team just before this series. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if they keep that thing going. Give me the Rangers, maybe a team total under backing Eovaldi or his earned runs maybe, but also a first 5 under. I don't think that this game gets opened up till later on in the game. All right, last game of the night, we got the A's taking on Seattle. I like the Mariners. I also like both the under in the first 5 and the full game here. Just kind of trusting what we're seeing from Bryan Woo. He's been very good. He's good against righties. That's going to matter in this against this A's team. What I get concerned with is going to throw a ton of fastballs and sliders. This A's team hit those well, but the sinker could be a go-to pitch today, in which they're bottom 10 in the league. Flip it over to Jeffrey Springs. He's actually had some really good numbers in his career against this Seattle team. Just even using Baseball Savant, you can see here, career versus the Mariners roster, 58 plate appearances against, really good K rate, meh walk rate, but an 189 average against, a WOBA of 238. Expected numbers aren't all that crazy either. So if he can hold his own, I think Bryan Woo, who also has fantastic numbers against this A's team, should be able to hold his own as well. So I'm going to be taking a peek at that first 5 under. Right now, the total and the full game under, to be honest, but I think that A's bullpen kind of scares me. In terms of what we can get for a first 5 right now, you can go under, I think it's under, yeah, you can get under 6. Under 6. It is pricey at -165, but under 5.5, under 6 could be 2 spots that we do really like. So keep an eye on the final plays. Obviously, that ballpark and the weather are going to be super, influential in this play, but might be something that we're crazy enough, sound the psycho alert alarm, crazy enough to ultimately end up rolling with. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 32. Lets me know that you made it to the end. Really do appreciate all of the feedback and all of the support as of late. Hit that like button as well, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.